panelists. Let me introduce the panelists to you all. So firstly, again, Kenda Monkhouse. Kenda Monkhouse is an attorney who specializes in immigration. She has her own law firm out in Atlanta, Georgia. I may be butchering this, but Veloza and Associates LLC. Kenda is also an author. She has a book on immigration out right now. It's called 10 Things Immigrants Should Know Before Coming to America. And I'm sure she'll touch a little bit on that as well. Kenda is an off counsel for my law firm who handles our immigration matters. And she's a big time attorney in Georgia. She travels all over the states to kind of handle immigration matters. Samedi la Kenda Monkhouse, avocat qui nan Colland, go avocat na Georgia, il est on leave, il est écrit, livre là les 10 things immigrants should know before coming to America. You know, besoin purchase leave side, parler avec medication après Colland. You got law firm Pali na Georgia. Go avocat to travel all over the states pour aider moun na immigration needs. Lot moun some pas dit c'est lui-même qui handle immigration matters pour law firm Pamela. Next panelist we have is avocat Ashley Charles. Ashley Charles is a graduate of George Mason Law School. Ashley travaille pour un law firm in Silver Spring qui specialise in immigration law. Of course, nous connaissons Ashley qui c'est membre de l'église là as well. Moi-même, Samuel Elira, nous tous connaissons, moi c'est avocat de l'église là, moi hier. Moi j'ai law firm par moi qui dans Bowie, Maryland. Nous specialise en pile area de law. Nous fait immigration law, nous fait business law, nous fait criminal law, nous fait family law, personal injury. Let's go ahead. Ourselves, we're not speaking, please. So I'm so delighted. Nom c'est Samuel Elira. Moi j'ai law firm par moi dans Bowie, Maryland. Nous specialize. Now I kind of forgot which that I did first, English or Creole. But at any rate, we're happy to have everyone here today. We are pleased to share the information we have with you. So I'll open up the floor. I don't know whether Kenda or Ashley will start first. So they'll give you some information on immigration law. And at the end of the panel, I'll chime in briefly on some immigration topics that I think will be good for you guys. So I'll open up the floor for either Ashley or Kenda.
Ashley, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hello, Kenda and Samuel and everyone else in attendance. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you this afternoon. C'est un plaisir pour moi avec nous après-midi. C'est une opportunité que je cherché longtemps. Et moi content pour me donner une chance pour me partager quelques sujets avec nous. I'll go ahead and share my screen. One thing I'd like to discuss this morning, I think maybe I was overly ambitious because we have very limited time. And so I'll discuss in a topic I find to be extremely important because in my practice, I've found that the Latino community is very, very, very well versed on what we call U visas, but it's not, I don't think it's as well known in the Haitian community. So I want to take this opportunity to share it with everyone in attendance. So après-midi, I'm talking discuter avec nous, on bagay un visa U qui c'est un moyen pour mon joindre résidence. On connaît haïtien, on connaît un pile de asile, on connaît un pile de TPS, on connaît un pile de membres famille et fil pour l'autre membre famille. Mais dans travail moins, dans expérience moins, à présent, on trouve que pas un pile monde qui connaît de ça nous les visa U. Cabinet nous, comme Samuel t'a dit, our law firm, as Samuel mentioned, Nelson Immigration in Silver Spring, Maryland. And U visas, we do a lot of them. And so I'll just proceed to talk about it a little bit. Let me share my screen. Just a second, please. Okay. So, qui ça exactement qui ont U visa? Excusez-moi. Okay. So, U visa, c'est un visa non immigrant que est réservé pour les gens qui sont victimes de crimes, qui assistent, qui coopèrent, qui ba assistance avec police, etc. So, en fait, c'est pour encourager moun qui pas gen papier, pour encourager moun qui pas gen statut, pour yo reporter crime, les yo tombe victime de crime. Parce que yon nan bagay qui passe, les moun nan pas gen papier, les moun nan pas gen statut, li paie pour reporter crime yo li subi yo à la police. I was saying that U visas are a specific category of visa that are reserved for victims of crimes, and it's to encourage undocumented crime victims to come forward, because fear of deportation is such a big thing and it prevents people from coming forward. And I think Congress decided that this was something that would ensure that our communities would remain safe. And so in a sense, it's a protection for crime victims and also a reward. So, je voulais faire distinction entre les non-immigrant versus immigrant visas. I'm just going to make a quick distinction between non-immigrant and immigrant visas. Visa non-immigrant, c'est visa qui permet que, visa immigrant, excusez-moi, c'est visa qui permet que un monde capable de venir aux États-Unis permanently. Versus un visa non immigrant, qui c'est un visa qui permet que un monde qui rete dans l'autre pays, lui permet que moun nan capable venir aux États-Unis temporairement. Par exemple, moun nan capable venir sous visa touriste, yo relè sa yo visa non immigrant, li capable venir pour traitement médical, li capable venir pour business, li capable venir pour étudier, etc. Et ça nous relè F1. So type de visa sa yo, c'est visa temporaire pour permettre que moun rete aux États-Unis. Donc, visa UA que m'a parlé avec nous sur ça, son visa temporaire li. Mais malgré son visa temporaire, li gagne yon débouché pour permettre que un moun capable joindre green card li. So just for a little bit of history, pour m'ba background de catégorie visa ça. C'est Congrès qui était passé en loi octobre 2000 qui est les Victims of Trafficking and Violence Protection Act qui permettent qui crée catégorie visa ça. Et comme tu as déjà commencé à dire nous, là pour le protéger et reward non-citizens qui subissent un crime et qui souffrent certains impacts mentaux et physiques. Mais c'est pas toute qualité crime. So I'm saying that this doesn't apply for all types of crimes. There are specific listed crimes under the statute. So we call them qualifying crimes. I will go over them with you shortly. Pour moun qualifié pour catégorie visa ça, comme te dit, faut que victime de yon crime nous pas discuter là yo. Faut crime passer aux États-Unis ou bien pour violer loi États-Unis. Et puis moun qui victime nan faut coopérer ou bien li te coopérer ou bien li disponible, li disposé pour coopérer avec la police dans investigation ou bien dans prosecution of the crime. Et puis tout faut moun subi en pile substantial physical and mental harm. So, bagala fait un pile effet sur moun physiquement ou bien mentalement, crime. Et puis tout, faut moun capable admissible aux États-Unis, ou bien s'il pas admissible, la pas obligé appliquer pour un bagay les waiver. So, encore, même type de crime qui qualifié, qui rend le monde qualifié pour visa U. So these are the types of crimes that qualify for the U visa. Abduction, abusive sexual contact, blackmail, domestic violence. I'll just name a few: felonious assault, obstruction of justice, trafficking, torture, etc., etc. Nous voyons là, une catégorie qui est vraiment broad, c'est ça nous les felonious assault là. Peut-être ou t'as marché bien tard dans un mauvais quartier et puis on moun stoppé et avec un zam qui comme si qui met en peur ou pense que t'as pas le mourir, bah ça ou bien moun mando tout ça sous. So gan pile bagay qui capable entrer en bas felonious assault là. So I'm saying that felonious assault is one of the common crimes we do, and that's because it's so broad. A lot of things can qualify: aggravated assaults, armed robberies, and so forth. So, qui est-ce qui est capable d'appliquer pour un visa U? Who can apply for a U visa? So, encore, les capables moun qui victime directement. It could be the direct victim. Ça veut dire moun qui est victime criminel même, ou bientôt les capables ça relève une victime indirecte qui c'est moun n'a pas victime criminel, moun n'a pas victime criminel non, mais li souffrir parce que crime n'a passé à un monde qui proche li, un membre famille proche li. Par exemple, une victime indirecte capable ou bien doit gagner un membre famille ou il été tué, donc moun n'a mouri, c'est lui même qui était victime directe, mais ou même membre famille ou considéré comme une victime indirecte, ou bien tout capable bon bagay qui passé un petit tout qui gagne moins que 21 ans, comme si c'est ou qui parent si moun nan, ou bien si c'est ou qui sœur frère victime directe là, mais ou gagne moins que 18 ans, donc ou qualifié comme un indirect victime. Seulement faut capable bailler information de crime nan, faut gagner connaissance de ça qui est passé, et puis tout faut que ou d'accord pour capable participer, pour capable aider dans l'investigation, bien pour prosecution of the crime. Right, so moun qui victime indirect là, so et ça me dit nous là, et for moun sa yo tout souffrir substantial physical and mental harm from the crime, et que for moun nan prouver tout, li pas gagner aucun empêchement qui empêche enter the US in a sense. So n'a parlé sur ça un peu plus à le comme ça. Okay, so yon lot aspect na visa U, another aspect of the application process. For démontrer, you have to prove that you assisted law enforcement. So, ou obligé soumettre yon certification. C'est ça que nous relèvons 918B. So, si crime n'a passé ou te relève la police par exemple, so, on y a fait obligé contacter le département police là, pour dire mais tel crime qui t'est passé telle date, moi te reporté crime nan, et puis m'te assisté police, s'il vous plaît si informe ça pour moi, ça nous est le 918BA pour dire immigration que moi te assisté, moi te coopéré dans l'investigation. Ensuite, the next requirement is substantial harm. So again, you have to be victim of a qualifying crime que nous te discuté. You have to assist law enforcement in the investigation and prosecution, and then you have to have suffered substantial harm. That could be physically or mentally. So, là où rempli application, when you file with USCIS the form I-918, nous les formes 918, faut ou buy une série de preuves. You have to submit certain evidence. Par exemple, si vous êtes à l'hôpital, ou bien tout sous ta ou en thérapiste et puis thérapiste la bon évaluation que ou t'es subi un pile trauma bagay sa yo type de évidence sa yo important en pile fois a lot of times people don't seek health or mental assistance because there's no money or for whatever reason. M'vle fè nou konnen que there are a lot of community social resources in place qui permettent que ou capable allouer yon conseiller ou bien thérapeute. Grand l'organisation, par exemple, Catholic Charities, Charité catholique, il y a différents offices, nous croyons bien d'ici, il y a bien Silver Spring too. So, si que on va comme ça arriver, nous considérer moins encourager nous pour nous chercher ouais, avec au moins un thérapeute, si nous parlons de docteur, ou bien bah, comme ça. So, quand nous avons touché sur ça, nous les grounds of inadmissibility. So, mon cap appliqué pour visa UA, il faut le montrer que il pas gain empêchement pour permettre que li admissible aux États-Unis. So, ça que je voulais parler avec nous de catégorie UA. One of the reasons why I wanted to discuss the U visa so badly, it's because it's very, very forgiving. So, grand pile empêchement que catégorie ça pas donné. Quelques exemples que d'abord nous, monde qui entre sans inspection, sans papier, monde qui fait famille entrer illégalement. So I'm just noting stuff like entry without inspection and alien smuggling. These things are waivable under the U visa category. Mais comme si vous avez servi comme un empêchement pour mais ou capable appliquer pour ça les un waiver. Comme ça les I-192. So ou rempli forme nan pour dire immigration qui empêche qui rend nous inadmissible aux États-Unis. Et puis, ou un pilote évidence tout pour convaincre que l'intérêt public là ou bien l'intérêt national là pour permettre que pour approuver waiver ça pour. So, gagner quelques grounds of inadmissibility that are not waivable. Et ça que nous avons regardé sur écran. Participation in Nazi persecutions. A lot of people are, this wouldn't apply because it happened quite some time ago. Ou bien participation in genocide or commission of acts of torture or extrajudicial killings. So encore bénéfice U visa yo, c'est que la permet ou gain les approve visa when they approve the application you'll have lawful status for up to 4 years ou capable travail les fin approve visa y a pas autorisé permis travail ou capable remplir pour famille ensuite ou capable appliquer pour résidence ça sont l'autre aspect là-dedans. Encore, ça c'est forme 918 là, c'est forme principale là. 918A, c'est lui-même rempli pour mon famille. Supplement B, c'est Law Enforcement Certification. 765 là, c'est Work Permit Application. Et 192 là, c'est pour Waiver of Inadmissibility. So, je devrais aller sur combien de temps ça prend pour your process. How long does it take to process? So, li capable prendre anytime between 6 to 18 months pour immigration réviser application pour arriver à une décision. However, this is strictly a guidance. Ça pas veut dire que c'est nombre de temps ça prend. It may be more. Quelquefois, l'immigration besoin bagay. If immigration needs something, it will send out a request for evidence, and these things can sometimes delay things. So, je voulais faire nous comprendre que catégorie U visa chaque année fiscale yo approuvé 10 000. Mais tellement il y a monde qui appliqué, il y a plus que 10 000 qui a appliqué, ça vient créer une longue ligne. So, qui veut dire les monde nan fin appliqué yo ka approuvé application an, mais la obligé tan peut-être 4 à 5 ans jusqu'à ce que un visa vienne disponible. So I'm saying that 10,000 U visas are allowed per fiscal year. And because of the overwhelming number of applications that are filed every year, that creates a long waiting period for a visa number to become available. Nonetheless, you're capable toujours approuver application. They can still approve the application, mais nombre de temps on prend pour un visa venir disponible, the number of time it takes for a visa to become available, y a metto non bagay ki rele deferred action status. So pendant un deferred action period là, on est capable toujours continuer à appliquer pour permis de travail. M'tap kal fon tirale sur un lot type de on lot category, mais m'konnen nous limité in time. I know we're limited in time, so I think I'll stop here and pass it along to Kendall. I'll share my contact information at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. That was some really good, informative information that I'm sure everyone could benefit from. Because like you said, that the U visa is very popular in the Hispanic world, but in terms of our Africans and our Caribbean counterparts, they're not really familiar with it. So thank you so much for that information. So what I'm going to talk about today is basically family immigration. And I'll start with first, who can petition for you to live in the United States permanently, or who can petition for you to have a green card? Because there's so much misunderstanding as to who exactly can file a green card application on your behalf. So to make it very easy, there's only 4 types of people that can petition for you to live in the United States. One is your spouse. Your spouse can petition for you, whether they're US citizens or whether they only have green cards, or what we call LPR, legal permanent residence. Your parent could petition for you as well. Your parent could be a US citizen or a green card holder. Your child over 21 years and older, USC, as in a United States citizen. So your child cannot be less than 21 years old in order to petition for you to have a green card. And siblings can petition for you as well, but your siblings has to be, again, 21 years and older, and they also have to be a US citizen. So I'll just repeat that. Your spouse, your parent, child 21 years and older, and siblings 21 years and older, right? They can begin filing the petition for you even while you're here in the United States, because you could go through what's called the adjustment to status process, or you can do consular processing if you're, and I'm sorry that we don't have that much time for me to explain in depth, but I'll leave my information. So if anyone needs any clarification on this as well, they could reach out to me after. I want to also touch on why it's best to use an immigration attorney. I know a lot of people think that they can petition immigration law is just basically filling out applications, but that's not the case. Sorry, go ahead.
I am so sorry. Would you mind if I translate for you a little bit?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I'm so sorry, but yes, please, well, okay, sure. Oui, so l'ité partager avec nous qui type de monde qui t'a appliqué pour comme si membre de famille etc. La petite information li pour nous contacter. En deuxième lieu, il t'a expliqué pour qui ça li vraiment important pour que vous gagnez un avocat immigration assisté dans procès. Right, I stopped at why it's important to have an immigration lawyer in the process. Go ahead, sorry.
Okay, so you were able to let them know who the 4 categories of people were that could petition for them?
I went over it briefly and I said to contact you, but if you don't mind repeating, I will translate.
Okay, thank you. So who can petition for you to live in the United States? And I like to break this down by saying your cousins, grandparents, aunts, and uncles cannot petition for you. Only your spouse, parent, child 21 years and older, or siblings 21 years and older, child and siblings must be United States citizens.
Okay. So, qui type de membre dans famille, qui type de relative qui capable d'appliquer pour, qui a rempli papier pour cousin ou ma tante ou tonton pas capable remplir pour venir aux États-Unis. C'est 4 catégories de personnes seulement dans la famille qui sont capables d'appliquer pour. C'est mari ou bien madame, c'est parents ou bien c'est petite qui gagne 21 ans plus, qui gagne plus que 21 ans, qui gagne 21 ans ou plus. Ensuite, sœur à frère qui gagne 21 ans et plus. Mais petite avec frère à sœur et qui gagne 21 ans et plus, faut qu'ils soient citizens.
Thank you, Ashley. Why it's best to use an immigration attorney? And I'm not here to scare anyone, but I just want to be truthful about it. Immigration is more than filling out applications. Ashley and I went to law school where we had to use the laws in order to be good at what we do. Because believe it or not, every single question on those applications has a law behind it that you don't know, but it might just look like a question to you. But Ashley and I would know what it means if you were to check that box incorrectly, right? Ashley, you could go ahead.
Sure. So, Kinda touche sur un bagay qui vraiment important. C'est que pour qui ça li bon pour gagner une immigration, un avocat immigration avec ou dans procès. En pile moun pense à faire immigration c'est simplement remplir forme. C'est peut-être 5% dans travail là. I'm saying Kinda that filling out forms is about 5% of the job sometimes. And malgré ou form yo minime na, well, you know, gen lot bagay involved. Mais li vraiment important pour toute question sous forme yo rempli correctement. Chaque grande question yo mande yo pose sous forme yo gon raison qui fait yo sous forme yo et si gen ou nan ça quelquefois ça a causé en pile la peine et ça fait li important pour que ou travaille avec un monde qui connaît sujet. Go ahead, Kinda.
Yeah, thank you. So, for example, there's questions on the citizenship application, like, have you ever voted in a federal or local election? And I've had clients in the past who happily check the box yes, but unbeknownst to them, that's a disqualification. You would not be able to get your citizenship if you disclose that information on your citizenship application, right? So just as an example. And what I want everyone to understand as well, and please do share with your family and friends, is that USCIS, or the authority that processes these applications, their jobs are not to approve your application. Their jobs are to deny you. So they sit there and they look for every reason to deny your application. Go ahead, Ashley.
Yes. So, li by exemple, sous forme citizenship là, par exemple, une question sous li qui question dit, est-ce que jamais voté dans une élection fédérale? Gan pile moun qui répond question, oh oui. Nan tête yo ka construit question, est-ce qu'on vle ou bien, for whatever reason, yo répond oui. Et pourtant, réponse oui a complètement disqualify you. Ou pas qualifié pour citizenship parce que yo considéré que l'on pas gen stat, le que ou pas un citizen ou voter dans élection son crime ça est. Donc l'important et ça fait l'important pour travailler avec un avocat qui connaît bagay yo, qui capable guider dans genre pour répondre question yo. Go ahead.
Thank you. So just remember that little tidbit of information that I shared in regards to the denials. If you already have an immigration case processing, whether it's with an attorney or for some reason you did it yourself, This is information that you can check the status online by simply going to USCIS website, which is a very, very informative website as well. Just go to uscis.gov. On the bar, you're going to see tools as an option. You click on tools, and right beneath tools, you can check your case status online. But in order to check your case status, you need a receipt number, which you would obtain from the receipt notice that USCIS will send you once you submit an application.
Okay. So yon nan bagay mwen te bliye traduit pou nou que Kinda te dit tout, c'est que officier immigration yo job yo c'est pas pour yo approuver application yo. Tellement gen moun kap aplike, yo cherche toutes ces raisons possibles pour yo capable deny yon case. Et ça fait les gen erreur qui fait ça cause un pile la peine et puis ça cause que yo refusé application. Li dit tout que ou capable checker moun qui gen application en cours yo, people who have application pending, ou ka checker statut application en ligne sur website uscis.gov. So wapwe sa yo les tools and then wapon bagay qui permet pour checker case status, statut ka. Wap besoin reçu qui là où fait en application immigration voyez on notice ba ou qui servi en sorte de reçu pour dire nous recevoir application et li gon numéro reçu a gon numéro, so ou utiliser numéro reçu a pour checker statut ka sur website USCIS là.
Thank you. And the reason why I share that information as to how to check your case status online is because immigration cases could take anything between 5 months to 5 years to pend. So sometimes I know a lot of people like, okay, I'm texting and calling my immigration lawyer every single day and they're not answering me. It's not that they're evading you, but understand that these cases takes time. So just I just want to put that comfort out there that, the attorney is going to reach out to you as soon as they get, any type of information from USCIS in regards to your case. So just be patient, or just to avoid that, you could log in online and check the status of your case yourself, okay? I did want to share with you guys DACA. Like Ashley said in the beginning, when she did her presentation on U visas, DACA, or what's called Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, it's not very popular in our community, in the Caribbean community, Haitian, Guyanese, just Caribbean community. But basically what it is, it's President Obama started this protection. And when I say protection is that, the children who entered before their 16th birthday, that their parents brought them when they were minors, at no fault of theirs, they're protected in that they wouldn't be moved unless they commit a serious offense. And during the time in the US, they're eligible to work and live in the US without having much to fear about.
Right. So, Kinda te dit au commencement que l'important pour nous checker statut canon sur Internet parce que quelquefois, bagay yo prend temps. Les cas prend au minimum 5 mois jusqu'à 5 ans. Ou pas j'en connais. Et en pile monde, comme si tout le temps, y a pris les avocats pour réponse, et malheureusement, nous pas gain réponse yo. Là, nous fin fait partie par nous fili à immigration. Bagay la c'est nan men yo lié, donc nous pas vraiment gain en pile majorité de fois nous pas gain contrôle sur combien de temps ça prend pour yo faire décision. So et ça fait important pour nous patients, on connaît comme si nous voulons même famille nous venir ba ça yo mais bagay yo prend temps. So l'important pour nous patients pour nous checker tout le temps. On l'autre bagay li te veut discuter avec nous, c'est ça qui est les DACA. DACA c'est un bagay que le président Obama a un programme de protection pour le président Obama approuvé pour permettre que si moun qui t'est entré aux États-Unis, là yo t'es dans l'âge mineur, pour yo joindre une protection spéciale qui permet que, comme si raison fait là, c'est pas faute yo, c'est pas eux qui te mené yo, t'es vraiment jeune, so depuis ti moun sa yo pas commettre crime qui ça yo les crimes qui vraiment sérieux, yo qualifié pour protection ça yo. Et protection ça permet que yo travaille pendant que yo ici aux États-Unis.
And to prove DACA, it's very simple. You would just have to prove that you came to the US before your 16th birthday. So any kind of information you can use to show proof of that in terms of medical records, employment records, even if you had money order receipts, whatever it is, just to prove that you've physically been in the United States before your 16th birthday. You also have to send proof of your immigration status just to show that you're currently out of status, which is very easy to obtain. Proof of presence, that you've been physically present in the United States from June 15, 2012. So you need documentation to show from June 15, 2012 up until present that you have been here in the United States. Again, it's the same proof. It's as if you were here before your 16th birthday. You'd also have to show continuous presence. It's the same documentation. So medical records, school records, your report cards, any kind of your vaccination card, any single proof. And most importantly, you have to show that you graduated from high school or that you've obtained a GED. So if you did, and that is the most significant piece of evidence required by USCIS, you have to show that you completed high school. Once you're able to show that, you pay a $495 processing fee to USCIS, and it comes with a work authorization. So you're really not paying for the DACA application, you're more so paying for the work authorization, right? And that's $495. DACA status, like I said, it helps you to live here in the United States. You're given the work permit, which comes with your social security card. You could get a driver's license. And I also like to tell people that they're free to travel to St. Thomas and Puerto Rico as well on DACA status. Little do you know. Ashley, is there anything else that I should touch on, do you think? I'm sorry, you could go ahead and translate that.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I'll tell you at the end of the translation. Kinda te parler sou l'autre bagay qui ka permettre pour qualifier pour ça les DACA. Faut que vous prouvez que vous t'es entré aux États-Unis, l'autre gain moins que 16 ans. Ensuite, faut prouver que vous êtes là depuis 15 juin 2012. Comment pour prouver, faut montrer côté là depuis là ça. Comment pour prouver ça? Tout petit papier enregistrement l'école ou papier travail ou bien il a reçu, il a papier caille ou bien papier tal caille docteur. Tout bagay sa yo est déprouvé à immigration que ou t'es dans pays ya ou pas déplacé dans période de temps ça. Encore c'est 15 juin 2012 à présent. Ensuite, faut que ou graduer high school ou bien ou compléter un programme GED. Ça sont l'autre requirement que vous obligez satisfaire pour que vous capable joindre statut DACA. Là où remplir l'application, il dit que frais au pays immigration c'est $495. Il permet que vous capable joindre ou capable remplir permis application travail là tout pour joindre permis pour travail. Donc, avec ça, tu es capable de travailler, là, ou work permit, là, ou carte sociale, ou capable de travailler à l'aisement, ou capable faire licence ou 4 licences. Et il dit, yon bagay en pile moun pa connaît tout, c'est que ça permet que vous voyager à Saint-Thomas ou bien à Puerto Rico. So, ça sont l'autre bénéfices dans le statut DACA. So that's it, Kenda. I don't have any additions on the DACA front. Thank you very much. That is another category I feel like the Latino communities is well aware and have mastered. But I don't know that I certainly haven't had a lot of Haitian clients that, have done DACA. So thank you for touching on that.
You're welcome. And before I go, I did leave my information in the chat for anyone who wants to access it. So I'm with Samuel's law firm. So all the information is there. And I did want to mention that, like Samuel said, I just completed a book, very simple, 68 pages. To read. It's like you and I having a conversation, basically detailing the 10 things that every immigrant should know, from going through the documentation that is needed when they first enter the United States and the different agencies where these documents could be obtained, job hunting, filing your income taxes. We come to America and we're not familiar with income taxes. I have all that information, including the deadline. And most importantly, one of my favorite chapters is credit cards and credit card management, because we come from countries that has nothing remotely close to the credit system here, and we start off on a bad foot. So this is a very informative book. It's like $19. You could get it online. You can gift it to friends and family who intend to migrate or who just recently came here. Thank you, everyone.
So, à la fin, li parle de yon livre que li écrit qui est les 10 bagay tout immigrant a supposé connaître les yon entré aux États-Unis. So, livre la couvri sujet comme, agence, quelques agences ou bien pour deal avec yo, les ou entrer, les couvrir à fait taxe, comme si faut pour information sous taxe, système taxe ici pour remplir forme taxe. Chaque année, les couvrir tout information sur système de crédit aux États-Unis. En pile, nous sortis dans un pays qui pas vraiment gagné un système de crédit, so c'est un gros changement pour nous. So, et livre là couvrir tout bagay ça yo, livre là c'est $19 lié ou capable acheter pour capable peut-être pas ou bien pour faire 11 amis ou membre de famille ou cadeau.
Outstanding. Well, thank you, Kenda and Ashley. You guys did an outstanding job, and I have not practiced immigration law in over 2 years, and I've learned a lot. So I have some questions written down here, and I hope a lot of you guys have questions too to ask Kenda and Ashley. Desde merci pour Ashley avec Kenda pile, yo ba nou pile information. Écrit question you pour demander aux questions yo m'a prendre pile des informations yo te ban nou. At this time, I want to briefly touch on just 2 topics in respect to criminal law, and then after I'm done, you guys will open up the floor for questions, and then we'll answer a few questions. Vai parler des topics dans criminal law. Après me finir avec topic vai parler, nous allons commencer par nos questions. Again, I'm gonna do my best. I tend to switch back and forth from English. I tend to forget which one I communicated first. So, but in any rate, now the 2 topics I want to talk about is the 5th Amendment and the 14th Amendment. I think those are very, very, very important, and they can be very vital in the criminal justice system. So the 5th Amendment is the amendment in the Constitution that give us the right, and the way I like to call it is to keep your mouth closed, keep your mouth shut. It gives you the right to not give any information to the government that would incriminate you in a crime. Samedi là, the 5th Amendment say on amendement dans la Constitution qui donne the right pour nous pas dire rien, pour nous pas dire police officer rien, pour nous pas dire gouvernement rien si nous pas voulons. Si bagay n'a dit là, son bagay qui pas bon pour, right? For example, when I say self-incriminating, the example I'm thinking about is, for example, if you know that on Saturday and Target, for example, you did something that you committed a crime, and then the officer asked you where were you, or the government asked you where were you on Friday, and you knew for a fact that where you were, it was a crime that was committed by you. Then maybe you shouldn't say nothing at all. Keep your mouth closed. That's what that Fifth Amendment gives you the right to do. The other thing I want to talk about is the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment, I think, is very, very important. It has a lot of protections. Three things I want to touch on is the first protection that, with respect to African Americans, it gave us the equal protection under the law with respect to our counterparts. The other thing is it gives us the right. It gives the government. It compels the government to prove every element of a crime. And what it is every single crime that you're charged with, all of them have elements. So the 14th Amendment, it compels the government to prove every element. The other thing is that's very important is the 14th Amendment is it gives it compels the government to unable to what is it called, search and seizure, unreasonable search and seizure. That means that they cannot go into your home without a warrant, cannot search your vehicle without probable cause. So samedi là l'autre amendement, le 14th Amendment. Amendement ça, faut gouvernement, si on charge you avec un crime, faut gouvernement prove chaque élément de crime, de crime là. Faut you prove every element. L'autre bagage put the 14th Amendment, it protect you from unreasonable search and seizure. Gouvernement pas simply aller dans caillou, frapper partout, point by dans caillou, ou ouvrir porte de machine pour by dans machine. You buy protection child. So with these two protections, the examples I want to give, I want to briefly touch on this. For example, if a police officer pulls you over in your vehicle, I mean, don't say too much. Just keep your mouth closed. I mean, and I think it's better that way, because if for whatever reason you're charged with anything, then you're able to fight it out in court, and then obtain an attorney, fight it out in court. And one thing I want to touch on, so I've had a few cases, where a client, they will get pulled over, right? And then they would automatically say, I have cocaine in the car. I have cocaine in the car. I have drugs in the car. The Fifth Amendment, just don't say nothing at all. Get clear, get the fire, your police point, oh, you're someone, you come and say, I'm getting drug in the machine, I'm getting bites on the machine. Pas dire rien. Même si vous get by the machine, vous get alcohol, by party on you. Okay? And the other thing with respect to proving every element of the crime, for example, like in a DUI case, they have to prove what? DUI, driving while intoxicated. So they have to prove you was driving the vehicle. That's the element with respect to the 14th Amendment. Prove that you was driving. That's one of the elements. So those things are very key. At the Elira law firm, law firm, when to practice criminal law, so I'm doing family law with respect to divorce, custody, child support, business law, if you get involved in an accident, we do personal injury. So I hope information that it was helpful. I hope the information was helpful. Si nous get question, qu'on y a nous demander nos questions, puis nous try our best to answer the question that you may have. Thank you. So if nobody have a question, I do have a question for Ashley, and I guess after I ask the question, you guys, I don't know how you, Eve, I don't know how you want to do this, whether they can just ask the question or put it on the chat. I'll let you deal with that. But the question I do have for Ashley with respect to the UV visa, the U visa. So the different crimes that you talked about, are those with respect to crime that takes place in the United States, or that respective country where that person comes from, right? And that was the first question. And the second question is, I guess for both of you guys, Kenda and Ashley, you guys can give the folks the importance of why is it that folks should be encouraged to, if you have a green card, go get a citizenship. Go apply for citizenship instead of paying that fee every so often for your permanent resident. So touch on that, and then Ashley, you could touch on the question with respect to the U visa. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Kenda, do you want to answer first, or should I?
Okay, I'll just go ahead.
I'm sorry, can I apologize? Maybe translate what I just indicated, Ashley.
Sure. Kounya nou rive nan seksyon konferans lan, kote nou wal pran kesyon, bakon kom on a fait ça, si Sir Yves envisager que moun a kite commentaire dans section commentaire là sous Zoom ou bien mais en attendant que nous décider sur ça Samuel t'a posé deux questions. Une question c'est que m'te parlé sur visa UA une série de crimes qui qualifiés pour visa UA. Les questions c'était est-ce que crime ça yo faut que t'es fait aux États-Unis? Est-ce que crime ça yo doit être passé aux États-Unis ou bien est-ce que t'es passé dans un pays moun? I hope I got that right, Samuel. Ensuite, il te voulait pour Kinda fait commentaire sur affaire citizenship que en pile nan nou haïtien qui fin gagner résidence nou yo chaque 10 ans n'a plaidé payer pour nous renouveler là que en fait nous capable juste fil pour citizenship. So Kinda pral parler avec nous brièvement et ensuite ma font intervention sur affaire crime qualificatif qui qualifié. Go ahead, Kinda.
Thank you. The benefits and Samuel, that was a really good question. Renewing your green card, it's okay, but how do I put it? You're missing out on protections. For example, you can get deported on a green card. I've had clients who were deported on a green card. And it could just happen like this. Sometimes you're in the wrong place at the wrong time and you pick up a charge. That's enough to get you deported. Maybe you're in an accident, you're driving, you're minding your business, you're in an accident, somebody dies, and that's extreme, but you can get removed on a green card. Now, if you are a US citizen, then you would not be removed. And that's one of the best protections. Also, being able to get your Social Security benefits, having a US passport and all the opportunities and places that is open for you to travel with. And most importantly, right under not getting deported is that you can actually bring your family members to the United States as well. Like I said, siblings, you're here, you have a sibling back in Haiti, you can petition for that sibling now that you're a United States citizen, okay? So those are some of the top benefits as to why you should not be renewing your green card. And also, the difference is just like the difference in cash is just like $185 difference between renewing your green card and getting citizenship with those amazing protections.
Okay. So, Kinda, encouragez-nous pour nous capables remplir pour citizenship, les nous qualifier pour lui au lieu de n'appeler de renouveler green card là, parce que citizenship là ouvre porte à une bonne protection. Leur citizen comme on connaît ou ka voter, et plutôt yon bagay il te dit ou pas vraiment fin safe until you become a citizen. I'm just going to say this in English. I'll translate shortly. I personally always encourage my clients, Kinda, to walk a very, 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 very fine line until they obtain citizenship. It's for the exact same reason you mentioned, because your green card can be rescinded like this. It's not a very secure position at all, contrary to popular belief. So, grand pile moun ki pa kon sa, mais green card là, c'est pas une protection absolue liée. Il permet pour rester aux États-Unis vraiment rester permanent, mais il y a quelques situations trouvées qui ont été parlé sur ça, par exemple, où on malheur arrivé, on crime passé, ou responsable pour lui, ou bien on vit accident machine, on bagaille, ou trouve une situation que un gouvernement a décidé pour prendre résidence là dans même. Donc, Et ça que fait résidence là, c'est pas une protection absolue. Nous toujours encourager clients pour yo faire en pile attention pour yo pas mettre tête dans problème tout autant que jusque yo ta devenu citizen. C'est là fin rive citizen là, c'est là ça. Au moins sans tout cas respirer en paix. Ou qu'à voter, ou qu'à changer passeport, un passeport américain qui permet qui ouvre porte pour voyager en pile l'autre côté. So, grand pile protection, grand pile bénéfice, là que vous appliquez pour citizenship, et puis comme Kinda te dit, là où citizen, sous plus que 21 ans, sous 21 ans ou plus, comme petite, c'est leur citizen ou capable d'appliquer pour maman ou papa. Ou bientôt, si ou citizen ici, ou âgé 21 ans et plus, c'est seul si ou citizen que vous pouvez appliquer pour frère à sœur. Donc, ça, c'est bénéfice qui gagne appliqué pour citizenship. Là, je juste voulais faire commentaire tout que vous êtes capable d'appliquer pour citizenship 5 ans après que vous gagnez un green card là. So, en fait, moi, pour commencer à préparer l'application pour voyer l'application. Ensuite, l'autre bagage qui permet qu'on applique pour citizenship puis bonheur, ça c'est sous marié, sous te joindre green card à travers mariage, et puis ou toujours marié ou toujours à vivre avec mari ou bien madame. Ça permet que vous appliquez pour citizenship 3 ans après green card là, pas 5 ans. Il permet ou appliquer plus bonheur que 5 ans. Mais pour tout l'autre monde, faut attendre 5 ans après faire des résidences là pour appliquer pour citizenship. Kenda, I was commenting that you can apply for citizenship 5 years after, but you can get ready to get your application ready for 4 years and 9 months later. And I was saying that there is also, you can also apply early for citizenship 3 years after your green card, if you got your green card through marriage and you're still living in marital union with your spouse. So now back to Samuel's question for me regarding U visas. So Samuel te pose mon question sur U visa encore. Il te pose demandé est-ce que crime ça yo faut te passer aux États-Unis ou bien dans pays moun. Faut crime yo passer aux États-Unis ou bien faut yo violer si yo passer dans pays yo faut ta violer loi États-Unis. So mais en gros majorité de cas, je travaille sur yo crime que moun yo tombe victime de yo passé aux États-Unis. I mean, si gon bagay qui passe, faut penser de logique qui derrière loi. Logique là, c'est que c'est pour encourager moun qui sans papier, moun qui sans statut pour yo reporter crime yo là yo tombe victime de yo pour rendre communauté non plus safe. So, et ça fait que crime, m'te listé pour nous, m'te montré nous, c'est crime faut passer aux États-Unis ou bien s'il passe de l'autre côté, faut violer loi États-Unis. Je souhaite ça te répondre.
Yes, good, thank you. We have 2 questions on the floor. Before we address those 2 questions, I want to briefly touch base on what Kenda and Ashley said. Kenda alluded to this and Ashley articulated this so well that immigration law goes hand in hand with criminal law. Like the attorneys indicated, I think a lot of the charges of crime that you're convicted with, for the exception of maybe some misdemeanors, will affect your citizenship if you're not a citizen. So that's very important, as indicated, to if you have a permanent resident, get your citizenship. Samedi la loi immigration avec loi criminelle, presque yo travaille ensemble parce que ou ka convicted or charged pour un crime, un pile crime ou convicted and you charged with or convicted with can affect the status or permanent residence. You can deport it. So like Ashley indicated, you almost have to walk in very thin line, right? So definitely encourage you guys, if you have a permanent resident, please do what is necessary. Reach out to Ashley, reach out to my law firm, and Kenneth will definitely assist you in that regard. So the question premier munte c'est Sabine, and then the next person is Julia, and then the next is Mr. Boaz. Miss Sabine?
Oui, bonsoir. C'est cher Sabine. S'il te plaît, ça m'a demandé information. Est-ce que moi gagne un neveu qui mourit à Haïti, mais les grands petits qui gagne 8 ans. Est-ce que je peux appliquer pour lui pour me faire venir aux États-Unis? Est-ce que je peux faire une adoption pour lui?
Okay. Kenda, I think I'll send that question over to you. Let me translate for you. Sabine shared that she has a nephew in Haiti. The nephew's father, I believe, which is her relative, died. Can she petition for the nephew? Can she maybe go through adoption route to adopt the nephew and petition for him?
She will have to go through the adoption right, because like I said earlier, you're an aunt, so you cannot petition for your nephew under US laws. But if you were to adopt him, then that would put you in a position where you're an adopted parent, and then you'd be able to sponsor him to come to the United States. So you may want to seek an international adoption attorney. First, I know Haiti is a part of the Hague Convention, which makes it a little bit more difficult, you know, or a little bit outside of my expertise. But if you were to go that route, adopt him first, and then you'll be able to bring him here.
Okay. Ma traduit pour Sabine. Donc, Kinda te mentionné au commencement que ma tante pas capable fil pour nièce à neveu. Seul moyen pour te capable fil pour lui, c'est si que ou adopter ti moun nan neveu ou kounya ou vinn devenu parent adoptif li, et seule façon ça ou ka fil pour lui ou ka sponsor li. Ou t'as capable faire ça pour papa comme frère, mais comme malheureusement li mourir, ou pas capable juste remplir pétition pour neveu. Kinda mentionné que peut-être ta bon pour t'es capable contacter un avocat sur affaire adoption internationale pour parler avec sur ça. Haïti fait partie de une convention the Hague Convention, so affaire adoption n'est pas vraiment assez facile. Mais en fait, ça pas vraiment ça pas fin domaine nous net, mais seul moyen qui t'a permettre que ou fil pour neveu venir ici, c'est pour t'adopter, pour ta devenir parent adoptif. So
thank you. Next person, and I hope that your question. The next person is Julia, then Mr. Boaz, and then there's another person on the group. I believe is the third question there is a Marceline. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Julia, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. Hope everyone is well. I will ask my question in English. So I know someone who was recruited by someone else that they knew, and the person basically persuaded them that they knew ICE agents, and this person that was recruited, they already had papers in immigration, and this person convinced them that they had some type of connection where they could speed up the process for them. I guess my question is two-part. So once the first part gets answered, I can go ahead and ask the second part. So what ended up happening is that, you know, there was a financial transaction where money was given to this person that claimed that they knew ICE agents who are able to speed up, you know, someone's papers in immigration. Of course, you know, you can already tell too good to be true. It's probably not true. So my question would be, what are some things that people need to look out for when they are filing for immigration papers, scams? And also, what are some best practices in order to safeguard yourself from being scammed out of money?
I'll comment on that. It's very unfortunate that the person had to fall victim to that. And it's a great question because it happens often. My advice would be for people applying for an immigration benefit of some sort to seek the assistance of a qualified immigration lawyer or somebody else who is knowledgeable about these things. Now, how do you make sure that the person is qualified? I think you can look for a reputable person. Does that person have an established practice or office? You should also ask all the important questions. As if the person is claiming to be an immigration lawyer, you ask them, okay, for their bar membership information to make sure that they're in fact barred. Nowadays there's a lot of online footprints, so you can look the person up to see if this is indeed their field of practice. And so really that's my best advice, to do your due diligence. Anything that sounds too good to be true should be met with extreme scrutiny. So sometimes people get impatient, as Kenda mentioned earlier, and they want to speed things up. Well, everyone wants to speed things up. And unfortunately, there is no way to cut the line. I'm just gonna say cut the line, because a lot of people are waiting. There is, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And so as someone looking for help, the person has to be extremely diligent and do their research and ask to see, certification or whatever, if it comes down to it, to make sure that you're in good hands. That's my personal advice on that. So I don't know if anyone else wants to add to it.
No, I think.
Actually, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, stay in your community. On top of everything that Ashley is saying, stay in your community, work with referrals. We're here today. You have access to us. You verify who we are through the church, and then just stay in your community to avoid the scams, because they're very, very rampant. So take Ashley's advice. And like she said, if it sounds too good, it's probably not true. We are accustomed that we came from little islands and little countries where we could pay to speed up the processes, but that's not how it works in the United States. And like Ashley mentioned before as well, there's only certain amount of visas that are allotted under certain categories per year. So it is going to be a waiting game. A U visa is going to take you 4 years or 5 years. There is no way to expedite the process. So if you hear someone say, I could help you get a green card in by paying money to the person who is not an attorney, just run. You are probably about to get scammed. So stay in the community, refer Samuel, refer Ashley, so you could have that peace of mind.
I couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said it better than Ken and Ashley. So we have Boaz has the next question, and then we have a question on the chat by Pierre.
I'm sorry, I have another question. I'm so sorry. It's a follow-up. I said it was 2-part. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for your responses. So I guess my other question concerning that, I guess it would be directed to Sam, since it's due to a criminal activity. So for example, in a situation like that, where it is someone that is that something that you can pursue a legal action, or do you just take the L and you move forward?
Well, it sounds more of a civil matter than the criminal matter. So it sounds like if you gave money, or trusted somebody, gave money to do a certain act for you, and then they didn't complete that obligation, then it may be a civil case. As far as criminal, if they did anything fraudulent, you can obviously file an application with the state attorney, and maybe they may pursue it and charge, because attorneys, we're defense. The government is the one that pursues. So the government will pursue that if they find it necessary that a crime in fact was committed. I don't know if Kenda or Ashley want to chime in, but I hope that answers your question. Julie?
Thank you so much. It does.
Okay. So next person is Boaz, and then as indicated, there was a question on the chat by Pierre regarding a TPS form that she came in August 2021. So I'll let Boaz pose this question first.
Ok, merci. Merci beaucoup. Je vais poser une question pour moi en créole. Et je félicite l'Église primitive pour l'activité sale qu'elle a organisée. Et moi, félicite aussi Maître Ashley Charles et l'autre avocat, Maître Elira et Maître Kendra. Pour belle activité ça et pour bel sujet ça que abordé. Question n'a un rapport avec Visa U, j'en te carré et pas là au commencement même temps mais connaît est-ce que par exemple n'importe monde qui est légal dans le pays et puis qui victime d'un crime est-ce que monde ça éligible ça veut dire n'importe monde qui est légal et pour victime d'un crime ou éligible pour visa ça est-ce que c'est comme ça?
OK, merci pour la question, Frère Boaz. Oui et non. En fait, oui, c'est une victime d'un crime ou éligible pour visa. Mais il faut que les un crime que yon nommé dans la loi et pas tout crime. For crime na gon long list, par exemple, felonious assault, kidnapping, murder, indentured servitude. The list is long. Mais for les qualifier, for une crime, c'est pas juste, you know, on broad any crime. It has to be specific, and also the person has to cooperate or be willing to cooperate with law enforcement in the investigation and prosecution of the crime. For moun nan coopérer avec la police sous ça. Ensuite, for moun nan subi un pile harm physiquement ou bien mentalement à cause que il était victime de crime.
Ok, je vais ajouter une question. Par exemple, nous pouvons comprendre que dans un cas comme ça, un monde qui est illégal, c'est très difficile pour les police pour le reporter un crime comme ça. Qui garantit mon gain que s'il est les police puisqu'il est illégal pour le reporter un crime, il ne peut pas déporter.
That's a really good question. Let me translate it because I also want Kenda to hear it in case she has insight. So the question is, what guarantee is there for an undocumented person to report a crime? You know, what guarantee do they have that they won't get deported? Well, I had come to mention before, as I had mentioned earlier, fear of deportation is one of the #1 reasons that keep people from reporting crimes, people who are out of status, people who are undocumented. So the law was designed to encourage them. So reporting a crime on its own should not put somebody in a position to be deported. Funny things happen all the time, but it should not. That's why this provision of the law exists, and you know, Congress itself would like to encourage more crime reporting so that, you know, our communities can be safe. Kenda, do you have any other insights on that?
No, there's no insights. Ashley was correct. The whole reason why the petition is there, it's for this very particular reason. So don't be afraid. It's going to get granted once it meets the requirements.
And if I may briefly, Boaz, the fear of deportation and sharing with the authorities or something happened, or you notice a crime. I mean, if you have an immigration attorney already that's working with you, as Kenda and Ashley touched on, then they will assist you. They will guide you with whatever information that you need. So if you anticipating on doing something like that, then have an attorney already present. If you are, they present you with deportation papers, or you're in that process, then your attorney would, step in and do what's necessary to assist you. Quail white report there on cream, or you want to take advantage of the U visa, get a girl avocat immigration na side do cap ba information cap ba protection or assistant na process.
Thank you so much to you both for commenting that. Samuel, just to build on what you said, it is so important to always have an immigration lawyer's information in your back pocket for people who are out of status, for people who are undocumented. It's very important. And exactly because of this, sometimes you find yourself in a situation and the next thing you know, you're in detention. Well, reporting a crime on its own should not result in that outcome. You shouldn't be apprehended for that. But if you do find yourself in that situation, this is why we're spreading the knowledge about that through this conference. Then you should know that, first of all, you shouldn't be in this situation because that's considered a punishment for you reporting the crime. And also you should have the contact information, or I encourage you to contact an immigration attorney to discuss relief or what your options are out of that situation.
Thank you, Ashley. So as you all know, we will conclude we're supposed to conclude at 3, but we'll go at the latest at 3:15, the latest if more questions coming through, but we'll not go past 3:15. So there was nous supposé finir à 3h, nous à 3h qu'on y a, but nous pas commencer à cette question, but nous pas parler past 3h15. So there was one question on the group by Pierre regarding TPS. I don't know if Ashley and Kendra saw it. She indicated that she arrived in August 2021 and with a question regarding TPS forms. Kendra or Ashley?
Sure. Kendra, you want to take this one?
No, actually, I don't cover TPS. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. All right. I'll try to answer it to the best of my ability. I have done some TPS cases, but not a whole lot for Haitians. But I believe that the redesignation of TPS, the date was August 3rd. I will have to confirm that for you. I'm sorry, that's what's in my mind. So I believe if you were here on August 1st, you should be able to apply for TPS. And if you haven't left. So again, I may need to confirm the date of the redesignation for you, Pierre. Excuse me, but let me say it in Creole. Pierre, pour me répondre, question, sous la 1er août, je pense que ou capable parce que yo te fait annonce pour deuxième désignation TPS la 3 août. Moi, si l'esprit servit bien, je pense que c'était 3 août. Mais permettre que moi confirmer ça pour vous, donc je suis capable ou bien on contacter moi après pour follow up pour me capable avoir une réponse qui est un petit peu plus pour me confirmer ça pour vous.
Okay. I hope that satisfied your question, Mr. Pierre. Okay, thank you. So there was one other question on the group chat by Eve. She indicated that regarding H2b Visa. But I think the question is that if I could read it in Creole, I think it mentions something about a work visa. I think that's kind of what Ashley touched on regarding the U visa. One of the things, the benefits that it gives, I think, is with respect to work visa. But at any rate, Ashley or Kendra can touch on regarding the H2b visa. It's a question by Eve. You did the H2b visa.
Right. Thank you, Eve, for the question. Unfortunately, my area of focus is on family-based immigration. I don't do business immigration, so I can't provide much insight on the H2b, H2A visas, but I do know that in November, there was an announcement that 6 countries would be would be added to the list of eligible countries for H2b, H2a visas, and Haiti was among those countries. So I don't know a whole lot about the process, but pour moun ki pa connaît type de visa sa yo, H2A, H2b, c'est pour permettre que moun vin travailler avec certaines organisations temporairement. Par exemple, quelquefois c'est travail jardin ou bien you know, c'est type de recrutement sa yo. Now, it's quite involved process for soumettre CV, gen différentes organisations qui gagnent their own recruiters, et puis gen tout gen pile organisation tout qui déjà satisfait le nombre de haïtiens que yo vle prendre. Donc, faut travailler avec un monde qui vraiment connaît domaine bien. Malheureusement, I don't do business immigration, so I wouldn't be able to adequately guide you there.
I may be able to give a referral, and that's one good thing about attorneys. If we're unable to assist with something, we'll refer you to somebody else. Eve, I think that's the question that you posed. Reach out to me on sidebar, and I'll refer you to an attorney that may assist in that regard. So I'm checking to see if there's any more questions. I don't see any questions at all. To the extent that there's no further.
I had a question. Comme nous tous connaissons le législatif, nous avons pile haïtien, famille haïtien qui dans l'église là, et puis nous kawé yo ti gens prêt pour yo appliquer pour immigration pour yo venir citizen ou bien yo venir get permanent residence sur premier yo raison c'est que c'est au sort de l'argent parce que yo connaissez ni vraiment bon pour yo appliquer avec un avocat immigration, mais problème c'est que yo parce que yo fait entrer yo pas gagner un travail ou bien yon gens yo ka payer pour avocat immigration. So, question c'est qui gens nous te ka motiver, qui gens nous te ka pousser pour si c'est timoun yo qui gata 21 ans pour yo ka appliquer pour parents yo ou bien grand moun yo qui dans l'âge qui pour yo ka appliquer pour citizen, qui gens nous ka motiver dans sens ça.
Okay. I'll translate that question so that Kenda can also understand. Right. So at Primitive Church, there are a lot of families who would like to apply for immigration benefits, but because they've just entered, they may not have the means to seek the assistance of an immigration attorney. What can we share to help them, to motivate them on that front? Sometimes it's having another family member petition for them. So how can we help, or how can we motivate them who are in that situation? I hope I got that correctly.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Kenda, do you want me to go?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you was just translating for me. So there are different organizations that actually are pro bono organizations that work with immigrants. There's Catholic churches. There's several different organizations. It's just a matter of Googling to find the resources. Those individuals can help. They get money or grants from the government specifically for this situation. So that is one of the first to go to. Just try to find organizations that provide pro bono services to immigrants. Ashley, I don't know if you want to expand on that.
Yes, thank you. That's Catholic Charities is a great resource. When I started this work, I actually volunteered for Catholic Charities for 4 months. So yes, they do take a lot of pro bono cases, and they would be my #1 referral for, people who are not in a position to retain an immigration lawyer. Unfortunately, I think that's one of the things that actually keep a lot of people away the cost of immigration services. I kind of want to comment a little bit about that. In my case specifically, I work for a firm, and unfortunately, I don't have control over the prices. I often do, discuss things with my senior partner to see if we can help as much as we can, but we're limited in the amount of pro bono cases we can take, and we're limited in our efforts. But as much as I can, I do try to help people. But again, I would refer, like Kenda said, to Catholic Charities, and also just encourage folks to having legal status of some sort in this country is very, very, very important. If you find an immigration lawyer that's willing to allow you to pay in installments, that would be helpful. Our firm, we do that at times to help people, but you have to look at it like it's your life on the line, and so sometimes that involves making a lot of sacrifices. But I do hope that there are options out there and all is not lost. Again, Catholic Charities, and finding maybe a firm that will allow you to make payments in installments. That could also be another thing.
Outstanding. So we're going to take one last question. It's 3:10. One last question. And the last question is, I believe it's from Ms. Pierre. Is in French. I believe the question, it reads is that if she has a visa that's getting ready to expire, what can she do to obtain legal status? I think that's what the question is in French. And my response to that, and Kenna and Ashley Kashada, I mean, they're the experts in immigration. Like I said, I haven't practiced in years. Is you need certain grounds to obtain legal status. There's different grounds. Just like divorce, there's different grounds for divorce. And I think one of the things I can think of right now is if you're married, and your husband or wife is abusing you in certain ways. I think I forgot the terminologies, but that's one way, or you can kind of get status to kind of apply for a visa on a status basis. I believe that's what it is. And you took a shine this further.
Ashley, and I'm backing up right quick. So I want you guys to know that I do payment plans because I'm an immigrant. And I definitely understand the struggles. So I do payment plans. That's something that you could reach out to Samuel or myself about, that we could work it out. I'm very open to that. And additionally, there are fee waivers. This is something that a lot of immigrants don't know as well. But there are fee waivers for certain applications with USCIS. So if you're in a household, you're staying with someone who's a family member, who's possibly receiving food stamps or any kind of benefits from the government, or they can show that they're beneath the poverty guideline, then they're eligible to receive fee waivers, because some of these applications are very expensive. Forget the attorney fees. The application, like for the green card specifically, that's $1,225. Mm-hmm. And also, just keep this in mind, if you attempt to do that on your own, and you only have $1,225, know that you risk the chance of losing that $1,225, having to get it back in full because USCIS does not do payment plans, and still having to pay an attorney to redo everything for you, if it's something that's even redoable, right? So reach out to me and Samuel. We're willing to work with you guys on the payment plans and to potentially get you the fee waivers as well. To answer the question, if your visa is about to run out and you want to make sure that you still have some kind of status in the US, I would say go ahead and file for an extension. You have to get a reason as to why you're looking for an extension, but USCIS does have an application where you can file an extension, and I think the fees might be like I want to say a little bit beneath $500, but a little bit over $400 to file that application. So if you know that you have no way of acquiring a green card right now, put in for that extension, or you may want to leave the country and then re-enter. And Ashley could give her insight on that as well.
Sure. Thank you for commenting on the installment plans for your firm and your services, and the fee waiver. I had forgotten about the fee waivers. Oui, très important. Kinda fait nous connaître que lui-même tout avec Samuel yo gen différents arrangements qui capable faire pour permettre que moun paye en plusieurs versements. Ensuite, ça c'est un moyen pour assister moun qui peut-être pas gagné tout cob là au commencement pour payer pour service là. Ensuite, gagné pour un pile application immigration yo, gagné ça yo les waivers ou ka remplir un forme pour dire gouvernement que moi pas gagné moyen pour me payer frais application. Donc, s'il vous plaît, faites grâce et waive frais pour moi pour me pas payer. Pour U-Visas, application U-Visa yo, pas gagné fee waiver pour lui. So, on obligé payer frais, mais comme si stuff like work permits and stuff, yes. So c'est moyen ça, moun qui pas moun qui pas gagné un pile l'argent pour bagay yo capable c'est une bagay yo ka considérer fait. Ensuite, je crois qu'il date contribué tout dans réponse sous question moun qui frère Maslin, monsieur Maslin qui voulait t'arrêter qui entrait sous visa qui t'a même arrêté et l'État voulait jouer un statut légal. Kinda dit OK, yon bagay pour me faire nous connaître. One thing I just want to add to your answer, Kinda. So when people enter with tourist visas, they're allowed to stay for a period of 6 months. It doesn't matter if the visa is for a year, if it's for 5 years or whatever. Each entry is the temporary period of stay allowed is 6 months. So la rentrée sous visa ou yo permet ou rester sous visa, rester aux États-Unis sous visa pour 6 mois après date ou fin entrée. It doesn't matter, il pas fait différence si visa c'est un visa 5 ans, un visa 3 ans, un visa 2 ans. Date ou entrée, si son visa touriste, ou gain 6 mois pour rester aux États-Unis sans problème. Depuis 6 mois, ça fin passé, ou net considéré you're not in status. So, Kindate dit que c'est ça qui est vraiment important, si vous entrez sur un visa touriste pour appliquer pour un bagay extension, to get an extension of your non-immigrant status. So, pour dire gouvernement, montre vraiment que j'ai intention pour me tourner dans le pays avant 6 mois, mais ça arrive, mais tel bagay qui arrive, s'il vous plaît, est-ce que vous êtes capable de faire une extension ou bien est-ce que vous permettez moi et changer de touriste à une autre catégorie ou whatever. Now, from réel avec nous, comme nous la vérité, extension est vraiment difficile pour approuver. Extension. Mais ça ne veut pas dire que vous ne pouvez pas prendre chance en même temps. So, it's difficile, but faut prendre chance. You know, bagay nous fait dans consultation nous at our consultations, we look at all of your options. Pour nous, okay. So, ou entrer dans pays sur un visa ou t'as remérité, qui option gain? You entered with a visa, you'd like to say, what options do you have? Do you have a family member that can petition for you? Were you victim of a crime during that time? Do you have prospects for marriage? Do you have a significant other that's living here? Is marriage part of the, have you been considering marriage. So, nous demandons une bonne question pour nous, ouais, en fait, qui option qu'a gagné, qui moyen, qui débouché, qui t'a permettre que ou joindre statut pour être dans le pays légalement.
Outstanding, outstanding. Well, at this time it's 3:18. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who was able to join the Zoom. Thank you all, and I want to thank our two outstanding attorneys, Kenda Monkhouse and Ashley Charles, for providing us with all these wonderful information and very significant information we can use with respect to immigration. Bloody merci pour nous tous qui joined Zoom aujourd'hui. Merci en pile. The other thing I want to touch on is so Kenda, her book, the title is 10 Things Immigrants Should Know Before Coming to America. I'm going to purchase 2 of Kenda's books and I'm going to donate it to the church, and I'll let Eve do what's necessary to how she want to distribute those books to the guests on the Zoom today. But I'll purchase 2 books and I'll give it to Eve, and she'll distribute them to some of the guests that was in the Zoom of some members in the church. And if you guys want a copy of her book, the link is on the chat, and they'll reach out to my office, and then we'll provide you with that information. And again, if you have any needs with respect to criminal law, family law, business, personal injury, civil litigation, we even write wills, estate planning. Everybody need a will, power of attorney. So we do those as well. So please reach out to us. And I want to thank everyone again. Enjoy the rest of your day. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Sister Eve. M'tap di thank you, Sister Eve. Et puis, touche m'baga joun micro. M'dou konya, merci, ou tellement intéressant, ou m'rete jusqu'à la fin. Gracias. Bah, mais ça, notre téléphone, ça, non?